The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
WZWA Sports. It's in the game.
G'day everyone, welcome back to another Hog Hour Sports Review. It's your boy Hogsley. It's been a hot minute. Fortunately, I've had some computer problems. That's why I haven't done a lot of UFCs and all that recently. But you know I had to come back for the Super Bowl, even if I still don't have a webcam, because it's the Super Bowl. You gotta watch it, no matter what kind of sports fan you are. Whether you like your Aussie rules, you like your soccer, you like your baseball, you like your basketball, no matter the sport you love, the Super Bowl is the biggest sporting event in the world. You can't argue with that. It is a spectacle. And I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to review it. And I'm always glad I do, because it's the only game of NFL I watch every year. And look, they haven't let me down so far, because this was just another banger. We are talking about, obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs picking up another bloody nail biter over the 49ers. And just, God, you got to feel bad for the 49ers. Any fan of the 49ers out there, I feel bad for you. I really do. Well, look, we'll break it down chronologically, as we always do here with your boy Hogsley. And really, let me just preface it. It really was just a tale of two halves, or one half and three quarters, because obviously this game did go to overtime. Longest game in NFL history, or Super Bowl history, and boy, did it feel like it, man. I was sitting in front of my TV for 4 hours and 20 minutes. And that was with me skipping a lot of the ad breaks and most of the halftime show, which I will touch on. Man, that was a long-ass game. I wanted to do this review yesterday, and I started the game after work. It was about 5 o'clock, and I was like, yeah, I'll get this done. I'll get the review done. Before I knew it was 11 o'clock at night, I'm like, man, I'm going to bed. So, sorry it's coming a bit late, but here we go. Let's crack into it. Let's start. Look, listening to the pregame show, they're just hammering that Kansas City's got this great defense. We know they've got Patrick Mahomes. Look, this guy, every time I see him, I'm like, this guy could be the greatest of all time, okay? I don't know a lot about the history. I probably think Brady's probably considered the GOAT, if not like some Joe Montana, or, it's normally the quarterbacks you sort of give that sort of accolade to, because they obviously control most of the game. But this Pat Mahomes, man, he's on that trajectory to just even blitz the shit Tom Brady's done. He's well on his way. We're talking about now 3 rings in 5 years. That is a goddamn dynasty, and this shit ain't over. I know you got a full-on team to build around, but I saw people saying this is like one of the worst teams Pat Mahomes has had, and he still just pulls his shit out of his ass. It is incredible. This guy is incredible. He makes it look so easy. He makes just the most incredible plays look like something I could do. And there's no way I can do it. It is absolutely insane. And, credit to all the staff around him, calling out the plays, but just his ability to execute it, his ability to just think on the spot like he does, knowing when to scramble, knowing just the right pass to make at any given time. And most importantly, the clutch factor he has. This is Mamba mentality through and through. When it came down to when the Chiefs needed him most, he was at his best. But I call it a tale of two halves, because to begin the game, he wasn't at his best. The whole Chiefs lineup on both ends was just bad. They looked really bad. They looked shell-shocked for a lot of this first half. And the 49ers, just looked absolutely unstoppable, unbeatable, like a team of destiny, that this was going to happen to them. They were finally going to get over the hurdle, which was the Chiefs, after obviously losing to them a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl. You start the game, and you had I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Kyle Jooseyboy, number 44. You probably see this all the time, but this is the kind of play that just gets you excited to start start a Super Bowl. He just leaps over one of the defensive players for the Kansas City Chiefs in just a sheer show of athleticism. I mean, that's the stuff I want to see. I mean, there's a lot of that you out there that just might appreciate just the sensible play throughout a game. I mean, you can see that stuff. You can appreciate it. I'm a casual. I want to see slam dunks in basketball. Well, actually, I'm not a casual in basketball, but you get what I'm saying. This was like a slam dunk. This was an exciting play that set the tone. And McCaffrey, obviously just one of the best running backs this whole bloody season. Dude was on fire all night, but just once again, you start off this first quarter and he just barrels through about 10 people. Like he was Lou Ferrigno out there in his prime as a Hulk, just bulldozing through people. And look, I think he picked up 12 yards just on this absolutely just hulked out play. And I was like, man, the Niners look absolutely great. Purdy, man, talking about Tom Brady, this kid could be the next Tom Brady. Dude was drafted last in the draft. Dude was an absolute, just an assassin out there with the ball, just diming people up all night. That's what I remember seeing from Tom Brady. It was just pinpoint passes that, I mean, Pat Mahomes does it as well, but I think Pat Mahomes, I think of the otherworldly plays like later on making like a 58-yard throw just on the money. Like, that's the shit I think of when I think of Pat Mahomes. But watching Purdy, this reminded me of Tom Brady. It was that sort of mid-range passes for like 6 yards each time and just on the money time and time again, just bang, bang, bang. He looked unstoppable. The whole offense just looked unstoppable. And then all of a sudden, you had that fumble for a turnover. Like, after such a great drive, great start, an opportunity to just put that momentum, just build the momentum and put the pressure on the Chiefs, just goes awry. And look, that will be a common theme as I talk about through this review, is just how they shoot themselves in the foot, the 49ers. And that's why you've got to feel awful, because this game should have been theirs, if not just for a few careless mistakes. And look, the Chiefs made their share as well, don't get me wrong. And times it looked like they were going to shoot themselves in the foot enough that they were going to lose the game. But overall, at the end, it was just a couple of just buck-ups. Yeah, I'm trying not to swear, but look, honestly, that's the only word you can use for some of the shit that just went down. I mean, because look, they had that great drive, they fumbled it. Okay, look, start of the game, let's set the defense. Let's just treat it like it's a new game. And by God, they did. It was 3 and out for the Chiefs. This defense, I mean, just looked absolutely unstoppable. Just looked just as good as the offense had just done, I'm an Aussie boy. Look, we've got to shout out the punter for the 49ers, because, was he an Australian? I believe he was, man. Because, dude, he hit some bloody bombs, man. He kicked the ball, and it just disappeared. And you'd wait for about 12 seconds before it hit the ground again. It was crazy. I loved it. It just sort of continued this way through the first quarter. You had this great defense from the Niners. You had Purdy doing what he was doing. You had McCaffrey just being the gun he is. And they were locking up Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. I mean, I think the only significant play in the first quarter was Mahomes throwing that 57 yards, that bomb from 57 yards. And when you saw that, you thought, right, here we go. Mahomes is locked in. They just gave up a field goal. Yeah, I believe that's right. They're like, right, we need to get back into this. We need to score ourselves. He throws that bomb for 57 yards on the money, just an absolute crazy pass. And then, just like the Niners had done, just like I said, they'd shot themselves in the foot, they ended up fumbling it for a turnover. I believe, what was it, Pacheco? It may have been Pacheco. And I think, dude, if the Chiefs go on to lose this game, he would have been taken out back and shot. I know he made some good plays, but he made some boneheaded plays as well. So, it's obviously not a very high scoring game. I actually thought, man, at the rate this is going, no one scored a touchdown in the first quarter. And look, once again, it was just Niners domination through all of it. And you know what? That was never more evident than what you saw with Travis Kelce. That dude looked pissed. You could tell he wanted to win this game. I mean, it's a Super Bowl, but I reckon it's because Taylor was in the audience. 100%. She's probably gone, Travis, you win this game, I'll let you stick it in my butt tonight. And because that was a look of a man who was about to lose his chance to stick it in someone's butt, all right? Because he was going hard at the coaches. He only had like one touch for like 1 yard for like most of the first half. I think he ended up picking up his second reception towards the end of the second half. He was pissed. I think I saw something later that he said he was, I love you, coach. That was not the face of someone saying I love you. That was the face of someone saying, you get me that fucking ball. So, look, it was getting chippy. You could see that the passions were high, as they should be in this sport. It's the Super Bowl. But, man, the animosity was real. These players were not liking each other. Because of the Niners dominating, you could see that wearing on the Chiefs, obviously looking so shell-shocked. At one point, a player for the Chiefs pick up a flag because he slaps another guy. I mean, shit, man. You're lucky it's the end of the season. I don't know what that gets you suspension-wise. I know in the NBA, if you full-on just slap someone across the face, dude, that's normally a flagrant 2. You're out of the game and you miss a game at least. Maybe it's because they've got helmets on. Maybe because it hurts your hand more. But look, the reason they were so chippy and so frustrated and so shell-shocked, it was this defense. Their defense was doing enough to keep the game manageable. I think at most it got to 10 points, a 10-point lead for the 49ers. They weren't just blitzing them, okay? It was a touchdown. It was that field goal. So definitely manageable, but it was the defense that the 49ers were just laying on Kansas City. It was like 5 sacks to Mahomes in the first half. Look, incredible. The amount of pressure this defense was placing on Mahomes is just, look, insane. Insane. I heard they spent a lot of money on their defensive line, and it showed. If Mahomes wasn't the player he is, if he wasn't as good as a quarterback as he is, I doubt they score at all in this game with how locked in the defense was for the 49ers. They were just getting past the, is it called the offensive line, the people that guard quarterback, whoever they are, they were just pushing them over like they were nothing. The amount of times Pat Mahomes had to scramble, run left, right, back, left, and then finally throw a pass. He had absolutely no time to stay in a pocket and find the correct pass. On the other hand, Purdy had all the time in the world. There was times he was standing in the pocket for like 10 seconds, just like, yep, there's the correct pass. So credit to Mahomes, but credit to that defense because they were just bulldozing through those players and putting the pressure on Mahomes time and time again, which just made it so hard for the Kansas City Chiefs to just get any momentum in the offensively. So obviously it ends up being another 4th down. They punt it. This should be a play that is put on replay for the rest of time until the sun explodes and engulfs Earth in just radiation, because what on earth was this? The play that ends up being the touchdown, the first touchdown, I believe, for the 49ers was that trick play. I mean, you had Purdy pass behind him to one of the players, Jennings. And I was like, what are you doing? He's just passed behind him to a player that then just stands there. It was like they gave up on the play. He just didn't know what to do, threw it to someone, and this guy was like, well, I don't know what to do with it either. And I was like, well, the bloody hell is happening? And then it turns out he's going to throw the pass, and he hits a guy on the bloody money to end up scoring the first touchdown of the game. I came out of my seat. This was absolutely insane. Juwan Jennings to Christian McCaffrey. Okay, in the second quarter. Oh my goodness, that was just absolutely insane. I just could not believe it, man. This was Jennings' first pass in his career. He looked like a quarterback out there. It just shows how good these players are. Any player who plays in the NFL could go out to any old park and play any position and just blitz any old average Joe. I mean, that was just incredible. Oh man, I our good friend, a good editor, Mr. Monitor, showing this pass because just run it back 10 times. That's all the review should be because I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Oh God, like I can't get enough. I really can't get enough. 10-3 lead, obviously, to just end the second quarter. Kansas City finally able to put up a field goal. But yeah, you're looking good. You're thinking if you're the 49ers, you've got this locked down. Because they were just getting killed defensively by the Niners. Purdy looked great. McCaffrey looked great. You had Dwan Jennings just doing incredible things out there. So, and look, I wanted the Niners to win. I really did. Look, I don't have a problem against the Chiefs. I don't have a problem against Taylor Swift. I mean, some people were like, I want the Chiefs to lose because of her. None of that. I just wanted to see a new team win, I just think. It would have been cool. Dynasties are cool if you're a fan of the team, but they're not really a fan if... I'm not really a fan of dynasties if I'm a fan of the sport. I'm not a fan of the team, if that makes sense. So we start the third. And as I mentioned before, this Pacheco guy, they're so lucky they won because he's another dropped ball in the third after fumbling in the red zone earlier in the game. He dropped, and then he ends up losing 12 yards because he almost turns it over and then runs backward and gets tackled. Just, oh my God. Like, I can't imagine if I was Pacheco and they lost that game because he would have felt so bad. Instead, it's going to be some other players on the other team that feel bad. We're going to get to that. But KC, just once again, they just couldn't muster anything. You could feel like they were forcing it to Travis a lot of the time. It just wasn't in the right times or the right places. He eventually does come alive. The Chiefs defense, they're starting to really pick it up. Mahomes, and at this point, Kelsey, we're talking about sort of late into the third here. They're really starting to sort of find their place here. The second field goal for them after sort of getting stopped, but you had Harrison Butker kicking a 57-yard field goal. And then this is a play that cost the 49ers the Super Bowl, in my opinion. There's two big points. This is the one that cost them the Super Bowl, and that is the punt reception from the 49ers. I don't know who was meant to receive the punt, but obviously they've got a very critical stop. They've stopped the football. They're still up by 4 points. And then they get the stop, they get the punt, and they just fumble it. So I can't even explain what happened. It bounced off someone's foot, and then the guy who was meant to catch it couldn't catch it, bounced out of his hands, and it ends up being collected by a Chiefs player. That basically was a 60-yard pass, right? On what should have been your ball, when you should have got the stop, you've now turned it over, was it 16 yards of the end zone. That cooked it. That cooked the Super Bowl for them. They blew it. And on the very next position, Patrick Mahomes just fires just this nice, easy pass to pick up their first touchdown, putting them up by 3 points. Just absolutely insane. They picked up the lead. They've picked up the momentum of such a just awful. I mean, after biffing it like that, I would be inconsolable. Man, that's the stuff that haunts you for life, man. Oh, God. I feel so bad for him. So they end the third quarter. Now in the lead, the Chiefs. I'm like, that's the play. I'm going on about that's the play that loses the Super Bowl, and I think it did because, God damn, man, that's a huge momentum swing. Look, so we go into the fourth now. Purdy, he's got the team on his back. Him and McCaffrey are trying so hard to get them over this hurdle, over the hump, past the dynasty, and they picked up the first down, and then shortly afterwards, Jennings ends up catching the touchdown. So not only does he throw one, he catches one. So, God, you think, oh my God, now they're going to go up by 4 points. The game's almost over. We're talking about 10 minutes left of the game. But the special teams cook it again, man. It ends up being deflected and then obviously a turnover. But it wasn't like someone got past and jumped down as you're kicking. He just looked like he kicked it right into people's backs. That thing had no elevation on it whatsoever. So now you're only up by 3 points. And that's Not good because they can tie it with that field goal. Instead of forcing them to go for a touchdown, now they're only a field goal behind. So just another biff, man. Just another biff. And you do not want to be giving these chances to Pat Mahomes. It's from this point on that just Mahomes comes alive. The Niners defense starts coming apart at the seams. They had to obviously be tired, so tired. I can't imagine. You end up having the Niners pick up an extra field goal. They're up by 3, 2 minutes left. But if you're up by 4, it sort of makes a difference because you can exchange these field goals. But they weren't up by 4. They were only up by 3. So they go up by 3 again. You've given 2 minutes to Mahomes to win the game. He can't do it quite, but he gets him well within field goal range to kick another field goal. I mean, some of the big chunk plays he starts picking up now are incredible. Kelsey has come alive. He seems to be picking up bloody 10 yards easily on every reception. Just there is no one guarding him. He is just, his legs look a lot fresher than anyone else's. They look just insane. I mean, this game, stats-wise, going into overtime, just looked absolutely identical. We ended up 19-19. The stats were just identical. They looked like basically the same penalties, basically the same loss of yards in penalties, basically the same rushing, basically the same passes, basically the same pass completion percentage. So when you look at some of these plays like the turnovers, moments when you were playing up to the level of the Chiefs, this dynasty that ends up costing them the game because you can't give Mahomes these chances. You go into overtime. The teams look gassed. I get that. They settle for a field goal, but you've still given 7 minutes to the Chiefs to win this game. And there were so many plays in this final possession, this final drive from the Chiefs where you felt like the Niners had it. They got them to 4th down at one point. And you thought this is it. They can win it on defense. All they've got to do is get one more stop. One more stop and the Super Bowl is theirs. And it's just Pat Mahomes again. He ends up running it for the first down himself. And you could see it coming as well, but they couldn't stop it. Like on that last drive, I think it was like 8 for 8, plus scrambling for the yards. He just looked like the best player in the world. He was picking up big yards. You could just see the deflation in the 49ers as they just progressed down and down the field until they were within 10 yards of the goal line. They can win it on a touchdown. They've still got the field goal, which is basically a guarantee at that point. Purdy, you could see him just anxiety, obviously doing so much to like win this game. But the defense that was so good to start the game had just come apart. And then finally to end the game, we had Hardman. And there is absolutely no one guarding him, man. And to end it on that, I mean, it's one thing to end it on like a hectic catch where someone's like earned it just like out of nowhere. But there was absolutely no defense on Hardman. Just an easy catch and he runs it in. And for the first couple of seconds after he gets a touchdown, I think everyone was just a bit stunned. Like everyone's like, oh, that's it. We won. Or the other team were like, oh shit, we've lost. Like he runs it in and looks around like, did I do it? Is that it? Oh yeah, shit, it is. And everyone's like, whoa. And it's like the other players were like looking. It was like, whose guy was that? Did he get in? Oh shit, he did. Bugger.